You know that feeling, right? It's late, you're exhausted, your brain is screaming for sleep, but your thumb just keeps on scrolling. It's this weird nightly battle we all seem to fight. Well, it turns out there's a fascinating, full blown war going on inside your head every time you take your phone to bed. So let's get into the science of what's really happening.
I mean, it's such a common feeling. You know you need to sleep. You actually want to sleep, but you're just stuck in that endless feed. This isn't just you having a lack of willpower. Nope. Your brain is literally being pulled in three different directions all at once by your biology, your chemistry, and even your psychology.
First up, let's talk about the biggest, most basic problem biological sabotage. That little light in your hand is actively working against millions of years of human evolution. It's basically telling your brain two completely opposite stories at the same time.
Okay, so think of your circadian rhythm like your body's pre-programmed software. It's this internal master clock that's been designed to run on a 24-hour loop. And its number one signal, the main thing it uses to tell time, is light. Light means be awake, and dark means power down. Simple as that.
Now, the key messenger in this whole operation is a hormone called melatonin. You can think of it as the hormone of darkness. When things get dark, your brain releases melatonin, and it's like a memo gets sent out to your entire body saying, okay, folks, nighttime is here. Time to get ready for sleep.
And here is where the sabotage really begins. On the left, you see what's supposed to happen. It gets dark, melatonin goes up, you get sleepy. But that blue light from our screens, it's a powerful saboteur. It hits special receptors in your eyes and essentially screams at your brain, wait, stop, it's still daytime out. Shut down melatonin production. And we're not talking about a small effect here. The numbers are actually kind of wild. Just 2 hours of using your phone before bed can slash your melatonin levels by over 20%. Your brain is basically being robbed of the one chemical it needs to start the sleep process.
So what's the result of all this? Well, your body's entire sleep schedule gets shoved back. You might get into bed at 11, but your brain doesn't actually get the chemical signal to sleep until 12:30. You are quite literally giving yourself jet lag without ever leaving your bedroom.
So while your basic biology is physically keeping you awake, your brain chemistry is doing something else. It's actively encouraging you to keep scrolling. This is where things get a little tricky, because this is all about the addictive design of the apps on your phone.
We've all heard dopamine called the pleasure chemical, but that's a bit of a myth. It's actually more of the motivation chemical. It's what creates craving and anticipation. It's the little voice in your head that says, hey, do that again, something good might happen. It drives us to seek and to explore. And this loop right here shows you exactly how they get us. Social media feeds are built on something called intermittent reinforcement. You scroll, and maybe you see something cool, maybe you don't. It's the unpredictability that sends your dopamine system into overdrive, creating this powerful urge to just see what's next. Honestly, this is the best metaphor for it. Every single swipe of your thumb is like pulling the lever on a slot machine. Most of the time, nothing. But every once in a while, ding, 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 you get a little reward. A funny meme, a message, a like. And that little hit is just enough to keep you pulling that lever again and again and again. Okay, so your biology is fighting sleep. Your brain chemistry is begging for one more scroll. But there is a third, and maybe the most surprising reason we do this to ourselves. It's a kind of quiet, psychological protest. It's a mouthful, I know. Revenge bedtime procrastination. But you probably know the feeling. It's when your entire day belongs to your boss, or your kids, or your chores, and those late night hours feel like the only time that's actually yours. So you stay up, scrolling through stuff you don't even really care about, almost as an act of revenge on your busy day. You're desperately trying to get back a little bit of control, a little bit of autonomy. But the crazy part is the only person you're really getting revenge on is yourself the next morning. So just look at this list for a second. Does this sound a little too familiar? The key thing here is that third bullet point. It's not even about doing something you love. It's just mindless scrolling. The activity isn't the point. It's the symbolic act of taking back your time, which, of course, is always followed by that feeling of regret when the alarm goes off. So what is the actual cost of this whole nightly battle? Well, the bill comes due the very next day, and it's paid by a brain that's just not firing on all cylinders. See, sleep isn't just about rest. It's critical maintenance time for your brain. When you shortchange yourself on sleep, especially the deep sleep that screens mess with, your brain's executive functions take a massive hit. Your impulse control is shot, which makes you more likely to do it again the next night, and your ability to actually lock in memories gets seriously damaged. This chart just makes it so clear. Research shows that after just one night of bad sleep connected to screen use, your memory recall can drop by up to 20%. I mean, think about that. That's the difference between getting an A on a test and struggling to get a C. All because of one night?
And that's just from one bad night. Over time, this habit creates this whole waterfall of negative effects. It spikes your stress hormones when they should be at their lowest. It makes you more anxious and emotionally reactive. It even weakens your immune system and leaves you in that constant state of brain fog. All right, so knowing all of this, how do we stop the fighting? How do we finally declare a truce in this war with our phones? The good news is, it's not about huge, drastic measures. Small, deliberate changes can make all the difference. Look, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Start with a digital sunset. Just give your brain an hour without screens to let that melatonin naturally rise. And probably the single best tip, move your phone charger out of your bedroom. It's a game changer. Replace that scrolling habit with something new, something that actually relaxes you. And this is a total reframe of that whole revenge idea we talked about. The ultimate act of self-care, of reclaiming your time, isn't stealing a few mindless minutes from your sleep. It's giving your brain the deep, restorative rest that it is literally begging you for. And let's be super clear. The goal here is not to say technology is evil and you should throw your phone in a river. Not at all. It's about putting it back in its proper place. It's about building a relationship with technology where you are the one in control, not the algorithm. At the end of the day, our ancient biological brains are just completely outmatched by today's super addictive technology. This was never a fair fight. But by understanding the forces you're up against, you can stop fighting the battle and instead just change the battlefield. So the real question is, are you ready?
It's late, you're tired, but you just can't stop scrolling. Ever wonder what's actually going on? We've all been there, right? You know you need sleep, but your thumb just keeps going.
And it's not you being weak. It's actually a chemical war happening inside your brain.
See, your body has this internal clock, your circadian rhythm, that tells it when to power down.
Normally, darkness triggers the release of melatonin. You can think of it as the go-to-sleep hormone.
But the blue light from your phone is a total saboteur. It tells your brain, nope, it's still daytime.
In fact, just 2 hours of scrolling can slash your melatonin levels by 22%.
And you can see the difference right here. Blue light absolutely crushes melatonin levels.
So while your sleep system gets shut down, your brain's reward system gets hijacked by dopamine.
This creates a powerful loop. You scroll, get a little chemical reward, and you immediately want more.
It's no different than a slot machine. The unpredictability of the next post is what keeps you hooked.
And this often leads to doom scrolling, where you can't stop consuming bad news, even if it hurts.
See, all that negative content triggers your brain's fear center, your amygdala, to sound the alarm.
So you get this internal tug of war. Your logic says sleep, but your fear center screams threat.
This whole process floods you with stress hormones, leaving you feeling totally wired but exhausted.
So, given all this biological chaos, why do we even start scrolling to begin with? Often, it's something called revenge bedtime procrastination. You're trying to reclaim personal time.
You can think of it as a silent protest. You're trying to grab a little bit of control back.
But the problem is, this revenge just steals energy from tomorrow, making the next day even harder. So what is the actual, tangible cost of this nightly battle that's happening inside your head?
Well, it messes with your memory, your focus, and can seriously ramp up your anxiety and stress.
In fact, people who use screens before bed report 33% worse sleep quality. That's huge. Which really leaves you with one question. Is that last hour tonight worth ruining the first hour tomorrow?